Hi everyone, Jacqueline here. Welcome to Cold Climate Gardening. I live in Zone 3B, and today I want to share with you how I care for my fuchsias, because sometimes people find fuchsias very hard to look after and to keep them blooming throughout the summer months. So I'm going to share with you my tips and tricks, and we'll go into the details of what you need to do to enjoy them for the entire season. So fuchsia plants are native to Central America, and they thrive in a climate that is moist, in full shade and part shade. Fuchsias will grow 12 to 24 inches high and wide. They come in a variety of colors, as you can see here, and you can buy these plants in huge hanging baskets like this, or even bigger, or you can buy them in little pots like this and put 3 or 4 of them in a hanging basket to make a large plant like these. These plants love humidity. When they're in full bloom like they are right now, and if you have very warm temperatures, you're going to want to water these every single day to ensure they don't dry out. If it gets too hot, or if they're in full sun, they will wilt on you, and they will tell you they are not happy with their conditions. So if you have a spot that is shade, part shade, or has some indirect light, for instance, I am hanging mine on the east side of my home under the eaves, so they're getting quite a bit of shade, but they get a bit of the east morning light, and they seem to like it there, and it doesn't scorch them there. So that's a good location for them. You can check on your home or in your garden spots that are suitable for them. They do look great in hanging baskets like these. That seems to be one of the best looks for them from an aesthetic purpose, is in baskets, but you can plant them directly into the ground in your garden. Now, a plant this size here in Saskatchewan will cost you around $25. Anything bigger, I've seen them up to $50 and $60 for even a larger plant. So look around if you're looking for them. If you want to start your own plants, your best bet is to buy these smaller pots like this, and then put 3 or 4 in a container. You want to buy a plant that has preferably a lot of buds on it that are not open. If they are open, that's okay. Just make sure that they are full of buds. And this one's a really good example. There's buds throughout the plant. Now, a bit about the buds. So the buds on these plants, usually you will see, and here's the top of one right here, you will see a plant with 4 leaves on it, and then you'll see 4 buds at the center of that leaf node. Now, the key to having a plant that's bushy and big is they're going to throw the 3 or 4 plants in, maybe even 5 or 6 into a container. The container will still have bare spots in it. And with fuchsias, you want them full like these. So the easiest way to do that is take your plants, when you put them in the pot, or even your hanging plants to keep them blooming, take the stem and go down to the second set of leaves and pinch the plant off right there. So you can see what happens is when you pinch that center off, it will send out leaves, new shoots on both sides, and there's those 4 leaves again. And those 4 leaves will come up with 4 buds, just like this. So you want to do that to your plants to help them bloom. And what it also does is it forces them to branch out, because now these are going to send out stems out the sides, and you're getting more of a full effect. And if you look at these bigger plants like these, you will see that they've got stems coming off the sides and more buds coming off of them on those ends. And then you're just going to go back on an end like this, and you're going to come through and you're going to pinch that out. And what I do is I pinch and I twist, or just snap with your finger and take that off, and it's going to force it to send out new shoots or new stems on the side. And that way you have a full plant full of buds that will blossom and fill up that container. Now, these plants are loved by pollinators. Hummingbirds absolutely enjoy them, and It's because of their throats on these plants. They love the throats. They like the colors. They're attracted to the colors, and they can stick their beak right in there. So definitely you will attract hummingbirds to your garden, and even the hummingbird moth. Now, another thing about these plants is when it gets really, really hot, they can wilt and they will not be happy. When you see that happen, before you water the plant, check the soil to see if it's moist. If it's still moist, an inch and a half down, do not water. Move it out of the sun and put it someplace in the shade, because obviously it's gotten too much sun and too much heat, and it will respond back and it'll resolve the wilting. If you leave it in those conditions too long, you will lose your plant. These plants are susceptible to aphids and whiteflies, so beware of that and treat appropriately. Check the undersides of the leaves for them to make sure that they are not infested, and check them before you bring them home. Have a good look at them. And I mean, they are worth the effort because they're so darn beautiful. When it comes to deadheading these plants, you do not need to deadhead them. They deadhead themselves. And you can see here, you just touch it and they will drop them off. This one just came off right now too. It's spent. And any of them that are like that, it will take care of itself. So it's not a lot of maintenance for these plants, providing you give it the conditions it needs. These plants also, when you pot them up, they prefer a pH of 6 or 7. And you want to make sure that the soil that you use is rich in organic matter. So your potting soil needs to be that, and you may need to amend it. Also, adding some peat moss to it to lighten the soil is very helpful for these plants. They prefer that. When it comes to fertilizing these plants, when you pot them up, make sure you put a slow release fertilizer in the pot. If you buy your plant already in a hanging basket like these, then come through and sprinkle it with your slow release fertilizer and gently work it into the soil at the top of the plant. And then every week or every other week, come through with your water soluble fertilizer and feed your plant. You can use a bloom formula, like Miracle Grow has some bloom formulas, and so do some of the other fertilizer plants. But what these plants love is a potash-based fertilizer. So the best fertilizer you can give these plants is a tomato fertilizer, because they like the potash. And the potash in the fertilizers encourages these plants to constantly bloom. If you find your plant has stopped blooming, or you have areas like this that are all green, just come through and pinch it back and it will respond and it will start blooming again and sending out new shoots. They really don't take a break from blooming. The stems will take a break because the plants are so lush and full at this stage of the game. They will have blooms on them all the time. It's just in different areas while the other buds start developing. And here's a really good sample. This plant, you can see here, there's a lot of green in here, but look at the buds that are getting ready to come. So these lower stems are more full. And so eventually this will take over, these will drop off, and then if you pinch it, it'll send out new shoots and more buds will form. So make sure you're feeding these regularly and that you're keeping them happy. Now, you can overwinter these plants indoors. Make sure it's in direct light, not full sun, and that you meet the conditions I just mentioned. You could also come through and cut these plants back, and depending on the size of the plant, you could cut them back to about 6-7 inches. It's up to you on that. But whatever it takes to keep them healthy is the way to go, and keep them happy and keep them from wilting. Don't let these plants dry out, but don't let them be soggy, because they don't like to be soaking wet, especially at the top of the plant. So even moisture is the key. I really enjoy these plants in the summer. I think they're beautiful. I personally don't overwinter mine. I just get new plants every year, and I do like to start my own containers. I did cheat though and buy 2 hanging baskets this year because I was craving color, and it's been very cool here in Saskatchewan. Now we have had nights that it has went down to +1, and because I have them under the eaves of my house, and that's like up there, they are just fine. But anything colder than that, you could lose a plant. So keep an eye on your temperatures, especially in the early spring, because these plants, are sensitive because they're used to the warmer climates. These plants are perennial, basically in the zone 10 or 11. They're very hardy there. But for the rest of the zones, no, they aren't. They are basically an annual plant. So if you want to take them in and give them a try in the house, I highly recommend it because they're so beautiful and I think they're worth it. I mean, and you can take cuttings off them and start them in water and propagate them that way, or try rooting hormones as well in the fall and take some stems in. If the plant is looking a little shabby, you could also do that and overwinter them that way too, just like we do our wandering dudes and some of these other different house plants that we use outside now, because we're using more and more house plants outside in the garden. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you give these plants a try. They're very beautiful, and I think you'll get hours of entertainment from the pollinators that come to check out these plants. They aren't a lot of work. You just have to keep an eye on them and be consistent in your care. So thanks everybody. See you in the next video. Bye.